Secret footage has been released that reveals that Blake Lively was working with Taylor Swift the whole time? Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore, and I'm so excited to be joined by Melanie King. How are you doing, Melanie?
I am doing great, Andy. Love to be here.
Thank you for being here. You put this scoop out. I'm a little late, guys. I know, because I wanted to let Melanie ride for it a little longer before we tapped in. But for those of you who missed it, I thought this was a good one to spotlight, and I wanted to bring Melanie in because you've been doing some great work. You jumped in the fray as well, as so many have, and you've been really getting on this. Are you surprised to see this taken off the way it is? I guess this is not the typical type of stuff you typically cover, right?
No, it's not. I mean, but I get into like what they call conspiracy theories, and I especially get into like corruption and cases and things like that. So when this popped up for me, I was just like, okay, yeah, something is here. And I just dug in.
Yeah, you dug in. I couldn't even find these clips. She had to send them back to me. I could, because we're actually prepping a whole documentary. I hope to interview for that and get you involved and others. And we had trouble finding this clip. But this here it is. We're going to go through it again. She played it first over there. And whoever took the footage ages ago, kudos. But watching this now, this was a screening, I guess. Do we know when? Was it like August or so? Like this was an early cast screening?
Yeah, it was in August. I think I have the date. And it was in a theater. It was, I think, the Roxy Cinema in
Okay.
New York City. So it was a screening, an early screening, and then it was just kind of question and answers.
And everybody's there but Justin. It's
Every,
everybody
everyone's there.
except Justin.
Even Colleen Hoover.
Full cast, Colleen, Blake, they're all there. Blake's late. But here's the clip I want to focus on. Sorry, I know it's a little soft. I tried to boost it. You may need to lift up your volume while this is playing.
Did you have to make some calls? There were a lot of calls made for a lot of songs in this movie. Honestly, like this movie, I think that like when you see it, it feels like a big, beautiful summer movie, but like we didn't have any budget.
First, I got to pause. We're going to get to it. This is a big, beautiful summer movie. No, it's not. It's a very serious movie. Second, we didn't have budget. You think, Melanie, that's because she spent it all on her wardrobe?
That's what I'm thinking. She what is it, 600,000 for her wardrobe, and she still looked a hot mess.
Like the homeless Mary Poppins. It is weird because, the independent budget, you really didn't care spending it for your wardrobe. But now we didn't have any money. Yeah, well, now we know why. All right, let's continue.
So there were a lot of favors and a lot of begging, and
your knees for Taylor.
I mean, honestly, she was with me on this experience the whole time.
She was with me this experience the whole time, Taylor. She might just be saying that because she wants to sound important, but I don't know, Melanie. I'm buying it. I believe her dragons. She's got to use those dragons when she can. And she was with me on this experience this whole time.
All throughout it. So like she really lived
all throughout it
with me. She was, she's a person who shows up for you. And
she's the person who shows up for you.
So grateful to have that love and that support. But yeah, there were other people too that I had to call and beg, and people that said no. But I don't know what that means.
Anyway, she goes on, we'll play, but it's telling. And I'm glad you found that because she's been trying to downplay Taylor's involvement, right? She's been trying to say, she just popped up. And now there's sources saying Taylor just happened to be in the room that day. She didn't even mean to have a meeting with Justin. It seems like Team Taylor is trying to back up as far as possible from the situation, which makes sense. Taylor does, she has her own ego and she's not perfect, but I do know she doesn't like to be involved in drama that she hasn't specifically, said, I want to call this out. You know what I mean? So do you think this is true? Do you think Blake is now revealing too much of Taylor's involvement?
I don't think she's revealed enough. I mean, Taylor Swift a lot of people don't realize how big she was for the Me Too movement. I'm actually going to be doing some videos on it and how closely, she was like one of the head people. And so she's always about women empowerment and girl boss. And she's the godmother to 3 of her children. I find it suspicious that Taylor Swift hasn't spoken out in defense of her best friend this whole time. It's almost like she's trying to hide herself from it. Like, to me, that's even more suspicious.
I agree, especially given, right, I talked about in a video where Taylor's $1 lawsuit with that DJ, which, she fought and not many people were believing her. She won. And now, it's weird that she's not being vocal. I mean, at the same time, I get it. Taylor's very careful about her image. Like, she didn't talk about politics for the longest time, and then sort of finally did. She made a whole documentary justifying why she did it. But it is strange to me. I agree with you, but it's also not to me, because I'm like, yeah, I can see why she doesn't want to touch this anymore with a 10-foot pole. But I find it shocking that Blake's admitting this, like putting it out there, because I do think Taylor likes to be more private in her engagements and things. She doesn't like to talk about her relationships. That's why I think the Travis Kelce thing has been interesting, because she's never done that with her boyfriends before. So to see, like, she does it in the song, but I'm saying out there splashy like she's doing, she does tend to like keep her private life private, her songs, and that's it. So do you think she's annoyed at Blake for sort of putting her more in the spotlight publicly?
I think she is. I mean, at the time, I don't think she was upset with her, because, all of this hadn't unfolded. They didn't think that this would go this far. They really thought that the public would be on Blake's side. I mean, you just see it like with the New York Times and all of that. And so I think, in my opinion, the things I've seen, I think Taylor Swift was far more involved than we have seen. And again, we haven't gotten to discovery to see what text messages, emails, how far the rabbit hole actually, goes, how deep it is. But I think she's very upset that she's getting dragged into this right now, because it's negative. If it had gone Blake's way, I think Taylor would be more vocal in supporting her friend, and it would actually be a positive moment. So,
yeah, I mean, Blake's clearly using Taylor, in my opinion, and again, making threats. Do you want the song or not? Whether Taylor was involved in it has been the question. But this clip that you provided, as we see it, and you've had multiple angles you've provided, et cetera.
All
but
throughout it, so like she really lived
the fact that this is telling to me that she
the whole time
with me the whole experience,
so,
the whole
she
time,
really
all
lived
throughout
this-
it. Now, again, she might be saying that to make herself seem more important. Like, look, I got Taylor on speed dial, but I don't. I would, like you said, what is it? 3 kids she's godmothers to 3 of Blake's kids. Blake and Ryan's kid is in Gorgeous, like at the soundbite in the beginning. Like, these 2 are clearly tight. So it's strange. They were at the Super Bowl last year. I don't think she's going to show up this year, but yeah, it's very strange to not see the support. But going to those dragon texts and all these threats, like if you got that text, if you saw one of your friends referring to you as their, monster little dragons that do bet for better or worse, yada, 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 they'll help you too. Would that upset you? Would that make you look at that friend a little differently?
It wouldn't make me look at them differently, because I would know my friend. I tend to think birds of a feather flock together. So, like, I don't think this is the first time that this has happened. And then people, we're talking about Hollywood. We're talking about, these are the things that happen. I would laugh if I saw something like, if my friend said something like that. Taylor may have been right there when she texted. Remember, he left her house. This was right after he left from that meeting, right? If I recall. So was Taylor still there? She could have been there. And, us women, we have wine or drinks and we're just laughing and what we call kikiing, and it's like, and it's just like,
your theory that Taylor could have been saying, tell him you're Khaleesi.
That's what I'm saying. Like, these are the things that you can learn through discovery, and me investigating cases, it can get to the point where they can track where Taylor's phone was at that time. You don't even need a subpoena for this. You can actually track it through the cell towers. This is public data. You just have to have an investigator that knows how to do it. She could have still been there, and they were laughing about it. They could have been texting about it. I think she knew. That's my personal opinion. Because why would she just come up with that? Like, I think Ryan Reynolds, he's shown with the evidence we've seen, he has been a dragon for her. Mm-hmm. So was she lying when she said that? Or was it looks funny to us, but we're seeing the evidence of Ryan being exactly that for her. So why wouldn't Taylor Swift be?
Yeah, and to plug you, because you've been doing good investigating on this other video you pointed out, speaking of Ryan being her dragon, you brought up this whole Sick Kids initiative, which he released literally the day the lawsuit was filed in a stream that he then incorporated Blake. And this was a charity you were telling me that he's done every year with a big stylized production video. This year, though, he decided to announce, Blake and I are giving $500,000 and matching everybody to Sick Kids, literally the day the lawsuit's filed. I mean, that is very interesting. It clearly reads, we got to look good in the press. Do you think that was all on purpose?
Yeah, I went back years and I looked at every year when he would release a video for this charity for kids. And it's like you said, it's a high end production, usually even a talking sweater, just all types of things. And he normally releases it in early December, usually between the 2nd and the 8th. But last year, 2024, he released it December 20th, the day she filed her civil rights complaint in California. And then we know the next morning, the New York Times came out with their article and their video with this whole thing. So, and what looks like the evidence points to, and this is what Justin Baldoni's lawsuit is now, his amended one is saying that there was collusion between them and the New York Times for months. And so why wouldn't that be part of that coordinated effort to, make their image look really good?
All good points. If you guys want to see more, make sure you've subscribed over to Melanie. You can follow her over on YouTube at Melanie. It's Melanie King. Yeah. Also TikTok, Insta or X. I guess on Instagram. You're on all the socials, so you can find her there. Please give her a follow. Always a pleasure. We got to do this again. We have to collab more. Let's figure out ways to do it. I love your insight. Thank you for being here. Guys,
you,
we got
Andy.
a lot more. Yeah, no, thank you. And we got a lot more coming. Make sure you subscribe to her and here to Popcorn Planet. Hit the bell for all alerts. Smash that thumbs up, etc. Let me know what you think in the comments. And what do you think? Melanie has an interesting theory. Did Taylor know during the texting? Were they there giggling it up with over wine, making Justin feel that way? I didn't think of it that way, and it could be a possibility. Let us know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. We got a lot more coming your way.